Hello Exiles, this is Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming and welcome to another Path of Exile video. In today's video I'm going to teach you how to make an enormous amount of gold, how to scale it up. I'm even going to show you how I was able to make between 13k and 82k gold in a white map, and by a white map I mean literally a tier 1 map. I have some example maps I did on tier 1 maps with my Magic Find character Berserker here that I have in pretty budget basic Magic Find gear. Well, some of it's budget. The amulet may be less so, but everything else is relatively cheap. And I'm going to basically explain every detail on how to make gold, from how to scale it. I did explain in my previous video how the amount of gold that is dropped is decided, which I'll go over briefly in this, but if you want a better explanation, you can check out my previous video titled How Gold Works, probably, or something like that. I posted it recently and I'll link it in the description below. But I will explain how you can take all of that, put it together, and basically create your own gold farming strategies at any budget, at any tier of maps, even in tier 1s. And this can be scaled to all levels of difficulty, any amount of magic find you can fit onto your character, or even if you want to do none, you'll still get the most you can possibly get for whatever content you're doing, if you understand all of these principles. So I'll pull up my little thing here. Okay, so the first thing we need to talk about is map native monsters. Map native monsters are going to count the modifiers that are on the map and thus benefit from the quantity and rarity. They're different from what are considered loot tile monsters, which is additional content. However, some additional content is considered map native monsters, and I've gone over these here. Of course, the packs that would naturally spawn on the map, this all scales with pack size. Shaper or Elder Influence monsters. And this is especially nice for the little Shaper balls that follow you around and proc when you kill packs, which also scales with pack size, because they will spawn nothing but magic or rare monsters, which is very good for getting gold. Strong boxes. The monsters within strong boxes are considered map native monsters. I've tested this extensively. They drop just as much gold as the monsters, exactly as much gold as the monsters that spawn on the map. And you can of course manipulate strong boxes, which can lead to one of the strategies in which I got over 82,000, and probably, had I not made some mistakes, could have very easily gotten over 100,000 gold on a tier 1 map. Shrines. Shrines, I wasn't sure, but it does seem that shrines count as map native monsters, and these can be guarded by packs of magic monsters if you have the proper setup on your Atlas tree. Tormented spirits. These are particularly good because not only do they individually count as native map monsters, so they drop a good amount of gold and have a decent multiplier to themselves, but they pass over other monsters and give them rarity and quantity, and then give a huge rarity boost as well when they possess a monster. These two I'm unsure of totally. Hunted Traders and the Scarab of Adversary rares. I think they may, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't think a lot of the packs that you add on do count, so like the ones that, for instance, like I tried doing things like Incursion Scarab of Invasion, Divination Scares of Plenty, the Dwaydra's Devoted from Scarab of the Cloister. None of those seem to drop the level of gold based on the amount of items they dropped that map native monsters do. So it's possible that these don't work. I haven't been able to fully quantify that yet. So be a little wary with the Scarab of Adversary rares. However, there are some synergies that these have with other things, so sometimes it's worth adding them, even if they don't give as much gold. So the next thing that's important for scaling gold is understanding rarity, quantity, and pack size, and how to kind of get that and manipulate and get the most out of that. Player rarity, this multiplies with all of the others. My current player rarity is 511 without my gold flask on, And with my gold flask on, it's 563, I think. Map rarity, quantity, and pack size. Ideally, you'll want to be running 8 to 16 mod maps, which is why I'm currently running tier 1 maps, because I can actually get the most. And I explained in my previous video as well why you might be asking, okay, white maps can't roll mods that'll brick your build, like can't regen, can't leech, like some of the the ones that'll scale with the mod effect size past 100%, like completely get rid of all your block or armor, for instance. Those can't roll on white tier maps. So why aren't you running tier 5 maps? I explained that in my previous video, but because gold drops scale off the potential modifiers that can roll on items, the higher tier modifiers, the higher the gold, and that's why you see a stark gold increase at around tier 7 through 9 maps, because you get kind of the next tiers of modifiers starting to be able to roll around then, and why you see such a stark increase around like tier 13 to 14 maps. And then why you see the biggest increase when you go from 16 to 17, because that's when many of the mods receive their item level 86 rolls that can't be found in tier 16 maps, and those seem to be worth the most gold. That's why you get the huge piles of gold in tier 17s. So you can actually increase the quant and rarity with Eldritch altars. This is very important if you are farming higher tier maps. It's impacted by your Atlas tree, of course, both through the map modifiers, quantity, and rarity. You can use fragments, which are very cheap. They're like 0.3 chaos or something. So very easy way to add some quant. If you're running a strategy, or if you don't have a lot of scarabs and you're running a strategy that only runs like 1 to 3 scarabs instead of doing a full 5, filling up those extra slots with fragments can be very nice. Monster rarity and quant. So magic monsters, rare monsters, and unique monsters all have multipliers to their rarity and their quantity. I explained that more in the previous video as well. But that is multiplicative with these other factors. Tormented spirits and possibly wisps, but I have not personally seen a large impact from wisps when I've tested them. But so that's still a little up in the air in my mind. And then of course delirium is the last major multiplier you get, which can add an additional multi to your rarity and quantity based either on the distance from the mirror or the percent delirious. So like 20, 40, 60, 80 scales up. It is linear, but because there's only 5 tiers of it, each of those linear steps up are actually pretty big. You'll see on the map that I got 82k gold on in a tier 1. I was only 40% delirious. I've upgraded my magic find character a little bit. Now I could do 80%, and I would have gotten a lot more gold. Plus I made some major mistakes in that map. So I think I could have very easily gotten well over 100k gold there. So here are the basic strats. You add the things that give native map mods. So as far as your Atlas tree, you want your guaranteed extra strong box and nodes associated with that. You want your guaranteed extra shrine and nodes associated with that. You want as much map mod effect as you can get. You want all the quantity and rarity that's kind of in that middle circle. You want spirits, and you want delirium. Delirium doesn't actually give you map native monsters. The delirium monsters drop very little gold. However, they do scale your rarity and quantity. So delirium, having a guaranteed or nearly guaranteed mirror is very nice, and just throwing deli orbs on is very nice, but they're pretty expensive because everybody realizes how good delirium is for multiplying gold. So everybody is buying up delirium orbs or farming delirium orbs currently. You want to run corrupted maps with the Twist of Fate, and that'll give you more map mods. Twist of Fate, your corrupted rare and map crafting options applying to them are modified and predictably. When opened, maps modified in this way have 1 to 3 additional random map modifiers. So This is great. First of all, any bricked corrupted maps that only have like 4 to 6 mods on them, you can throw them on this and to get a little more value on them. It allows you to potentially, you can get up to 8 mods, and then you could have up to 5 copies of Cartography Scarab of Risk, putting you at 13, and then you could get up to 3 more. So you could potentially get up to a 16 mod map. In white tier maps, I could run that just fine, and the rarity and quantity and pack size, I've gotten as much as 118% pack size on a single map, which is, I think it was 118, might have been 113, but it was over 110 for sure. And that's very, very strong for obvious reasons. So Twist of Fate is very good for maximizing things, and none of the low tier maps, if you are going to do low tier Magic Find like me, have great layouts anyway. To be honest, I was running Siege because I kind of liked that the best, but none of them are great. You don't have any, like, you know, Toxic Sewers, Dunes, any of like the really nice premium ones. I guess in tier 4 you do have whatchamacallit, tier 4 or tier 3 Strand. I guess you could run Strands if you do, but then you'll miss out on the extra map modifiers. So if that's worth it for you, go for it. Run just like regular corrupted 8 mods and get the easy layout. Probably worthwhile. So basic increases that don't require any kind of combos, you can just slap these scarabs into your map device. It'll give you extra gold with little to no effort. A lot of these are cheap, not the strongbox ones, but a lot of the other ones are cheap. You can just throw the shrine scarabs on. All of them just add additional shrines, and all the shrines just add additional monsters, and some of them add things like bosses, and bosses do get a multi and will drop more gold. It'll be a bit tougher, but you know, you'll have that. And you also get the opportunity to get whatever other benefits, like the evolving shrine. It can be absolutely insane, for instance, which makes it so for the duration things can upgrade from magic and then into rare. I haven't tried an evolving shrine strategy yet, but I might do that, because actually I think I think I might have just worked out a way to get an incredibly high amount of gold, even if it only lasts for, like, you know, whatever, a minute and a half with the extra duration. Ooh, that could be really good. I just thought of that. Big brain stuff. See, that's why it's important to understand how these things work. Strongbox scarabs, of course, pretty expensive right now. Might be better off just selling them. It's only 4 chaos to slap the ambush mod on through the map device, and I think ambush scarabs are probably similarly expensive right now. I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna check. Or even the basic ones are 5.8. So yeah, it's actually cheaper to just slap the 4 chaos craft onto it. But if you have a bunch, I have a bunch, I don't really feel like selling them. I'd rather use them. I can just slap them on if I want some extra gold that way. Monstrous Lineage. This combos pretty well with almost everything. Monstrous Lineage is relatively cheap. It's a very common scarab, and it just seems to combo well with almost any other strategy you do. Shaper Elder Influence, of course. These count as map natives. Unfortunately, they're a little RNG. You won't always get the outcome that gives you extra monsters. Like for the Shaper, like probably about a third of the time, you just get the one that makes the boss, gives the boss like an extra health bar basically, and makes him drop a little more. But it doesn't seem to drop more gold when you do that most of the time. Just regular loot, that doesn't seem to count as extra. So it's a little RNG, but if you're just like casually farming, the roughly 1/3 of maps that you do get the Shaper balls are really good. And the Elder has like the little portals that spawn mobs out of those. Those drop pretty good gold, although they don't drop great gold if you're not scaling like you know, the Titanic strategy. They drop probably a little bit less than a typical rare does if you're not scaling unique monsters. So Shaper is going to be better for most standard easy strategies than Elder is going to be. Hunted Trader. Maybe, I don't know. But you know, it does spawn more monsters. They do drop some gold. I'm not really sure if they count as map native. Horned Scarab of Glittering. Obviously, this one's very expensive, and it's only worth it if you are doing a heavy investment strategy already. It'll just multiply anything you're doing. So if you're already doing like, you know, a completely blasted strategy, maybe you're running like an ambush of containment strategy, for instance, on a pretty tight map, and you're just going to be able to you roll all of them for stream of monsters, and you just go ham. Basically, if you're going to invest that heavily, like, you know, I guess go for it. Torment Scarabs, of course. The Torment Spirits drop a lot of gold themselves. Cartography of Risk, you can have up to 5 of them. They combo well with anything because they just give, you know, more mods on the map, which gives you more rarity, quantity, and pack size. And doing a bunch of them it increases the multi you have with your own MF and other stuff you're doing, like Delirium. So these are just bread and butter, basic good. Add them on if you want extra stuff. And maybe the Scarab of Wisps as well. Not really sure on that one. I've tried it a little bit. It's kind of difficult. I didn't see a very noticeable impact like I do with other things. Here's some combos you can do. Adversaries plus Nemesis plus Possession, which is the strat that I did in tier 16s on my only a little bit of Magic Find character, like my 100 rarity character, which adds a total of 8 packs of rare, or 8 rare mods onto the map, 4 packs which have doubled rares. Nemesis gives all the rares in the map 2 additional modifiers, which increases their rarity and quantity. And Possession gives a 25% chance that a rare monster is already pre-possessed by a ghost or by a spirit, which gives them another large multiplier. This creates huge pops of gold. It's really nice for like Headhunter strategies because Nemesis pairs well with Headhunter. And for the final one, you'd probably just put a regular Tormented Scarab on there because that'll give it the ghost a chance to escape the rares, and then they either get into or possess other things or touch other things, or you just kill them straight away if your DPS is high enough, or if you're not paying attention, and you just get the extra gold drops from them anyway. So that's really nice. Another one is Ambush plus Hidden Compartments plus Monstrous Lineage, and then you re-roll all of your boxes by to be either guarded by a magic pack or a stream of monsters. Stream of monsters contain a pack of magic and a pack of rare monsters, and you can roll stream of monsters with guarded by a pack of rare monsters or guarded by a pack of magic monsters. So I usually just chaos spam my strong boxes, which you'll see later. When I do kind of a similar strategy to this. I didn't run Monstrous Lineage. I think now I would. And I also allowed myself to roll guarded by rares, which now I would not, because I don't think at the lower tier of maps, or once you reach a certain threshold of rarity, I think magic monsters become strictly better than rare monsters. I think at lower levels of rarity, rare monsters are a little better, and at higher levels, magic monsters are a little better. And if you find a Bismuth Shrine, magic monsters become better even if you are at a low. That's what I should say. Oh, Bismuth Shrine. I didn't add that to this, but that's important too. Okay, so then we have Ambush of Containment plus Cartography of Risk plus, oh yeah, I just did this. Okay, so now the one a lot of people know, Triple Titanic Scarabs plus Rogue Exiles, which is glacier farming. It's very difficult. I wouldn't recommend it, but you know, it is very high gold, and the other loot potential is great on this. If you have an absolutely cracked character, go for it. I don't really see anybody magic finding while doing this, but you know, maybe somebody does. Another one is Delirium of Delusion, and this is for making 8 modded Delirious maps to run. So all you have to do is put the Delirium Scarab of Delusion, cartography scarab of escalation, cartography scarab of corruption, and then 2 risks, and you just run an 8 mod map with these, you're going to have a 11 to 13 mod map, assuming you are running with the Twist of Fate. And so you will drop an absolute ton of maps because you'll scale your amount of maps dropped by each map modifier. So, 11 to 13, that's 110 to 130% increased map drops. You get a lot of maps, especially if you're running tier 1s, because they don't have to roll up, so you're not having any wasted map drops, because normally, you need 3 tier 1s to become a tier 2, so basically you're getting a third of the maps, and so on and so forth, forever, which is why if you're not taking any of the chance for maps to drop 1 tier higher nodes, it becomes so hard to sustain any amount of T16s, because you have to roll an insane amount of maps before one of them becomes a T16, because they have to roll up. So tier 1s you can get an insane amount of 8 mod Delirium map. Another thing to note is, just casually, you can also be getting Pathological, which just gives you a chance of dropping maps with layers of Delirium, and then all you have to do is put 1 Chisel on them if they're white maps, put 1 Elk on them, and then vol them, and hope they turn out to be 8 mod. So, and you can get free, high Delirious maps that way. So that is basically the whole basic rundown. Hope you enjoyed. This has been Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and enjoy the map footage. A little bit awkward layout. The layouts you get will vary. Let's see if this one's a little better. 260 Quant. So this one's a lot better. 88 pack size. Also Scriptorium though. And we got a Delirium mirror. The real juice is when you get a Bismuth. Oh, I forgot to dump, but 13k. Okay. And there's the Bismuth Shrine. Okay, so this should be a good one, because the Bismuth Shrine is going to give all the magic and rare monsters an additional modifier, which will improve their drop rate. Nice. Got a Delirium item. Okay, double boss. Okay. I probably shouldn't be picking up uncorrupted maps because I'm gonna have to cycle through them eventually anyway. So, unless they're blighted, of course, or not blighted, delirious. Okay. One of the other downsides is, even though you're rarity hunting, there's a lot of uniques you can't get in this, a lot of the tier 0 uniques you can't actually get in tier 1 maps, I'm pretty sure, so makes things a little bit awkward. The bubbles on the ground literally do almost nothing as far as adding gold to the map. They don't have the native monster base drop, so you'll get gold on them occasionally, but it'll be in smaller amounts. Yeah, I'm just gonna start leaving regular maps on the ground. I'll only pick up the delirious ones. Unfortunately, didn't get a delirium orb there. Alright, so we started at 13,000, so we're already at 16k for this map. I'm not clearing super efficiently either. And because these are white maps and because they're so incredibly plentiful and easy to get, especially when you're rolling with this much quantity, you don't need to be super thorough in clearing the map. Okay. Get some stuff there. Go through the middle. Finish up. There's a... I probably should have let that go through things. Okay, 8 mobs remaining. Alright, I want to show you what the top end of this can look like if you really want to do, some crazy investment into it. I did record a video where I got 82k, I believe, gold, so let me pull that up. That was from last night, and I did make a lot of mistakes. So I could have made a lot more on this. And I was basically using the strong box of crystallization, which is old monstrous treasure basically, to turn everything in. And I'm going to skip the beginning part, although I am going to watch the very beginning because I actually make a mistake that stopped me from getting over 100k during that. So this is, once again, as you can see, it 68, and almost as soon as I get into the map, my damage was also lower because I wasn't running flat damage at all on this. So yeah. Oh, and I got a Secret to Suffering right away. So what I'm doing here is, in this case, I was actually rolling for either rare monsters on the strong boxes, and you have to get rid of the corrupted strong box node, of course. Stream of monsters, which is actually by far the best, or pack of magic monsters. And once I go across this bridge, there's actually a bismuth shrine. And once I noticed the bismuth shrine, I should have changed my strategy and not rolled for rare monsters at all. I should have just done magic or stream. I think I could have very easily cleared 100k, but the rest is me just clearing the map and rolling the boxes, so I'll kind of skip ahead. Once I clear like the baseline map stuff and start getting ready to roll boxes, I will pull that up. I'm pretty sure I died to the essence mob there. Okay, so here is when I start doing the boxes. I'm like, oh, I died to this essence mob. I'm just going to, and this was also 40% delirious. I could handle an 80% delirious now. Yeah, Secret to Suffering, got that. So let's skip ahead here just a little bit, and I'll kind of go through, and you'll be able to see. So I just decided to start opening boxes, I think. Okay, I'm very indecisive. I was actually going to make this its own video. So I had forgotten to turn one of the gold drops. So as you can see, the rares actually don't drop that much, but the magic monsters and the stream of monsters, you get stuff like this. And stream of monsters includes a pack, one pack of magic monsters and 3 rare monsters. So you kind of get the best of both rolls. So I'll be going through here, and basically clearing all these out little by little, and you'll see the kind of gold drops you get from this. Yeah, and I was super weak. I hadn't figured out my magic find, like how to fit my damage in and whatnot. That Secret to Suffering is what gave me the idea to, run it, because I was trying to just run pure Frostblade's damage without a Heat Shiver, which can be a little painful, with not really any scaling on my gear at all and very little scaling on the tree, because I needed like a certain baseline minimum for my defenses too. Although I did have a lot higher defenses at this, I actually spec'd out of some of my defenses because I was killing things so fast that I didn't need them. I wanted to have higher defenses basically so I could, do this in higher tier maps, but I think it's worth it to just do that. And yeah, you saw what the ground loot looked like right there. So yeah, this is going to be pretty solid generally speaking. Boy. Kind of feels bad to watch myself fail so hard on those monsters, but had I rolled everything to be just packs of magic monsters or a stream of monsters, some of the packs of magic monsters aren't so good, but there's a decent amount that give a good chunk. Rare mobs are dropping an okay amount, and ideally you get a lot of you get a lot of reopens, but I don't think it's worth using the reopen scarab over other things. Maybe it is, just from raw numbers, but those boxes weren't as great. I also don't think I was taking the most amount of another thing I would do differently is I would actually run the increased magic monster size. So yeah, if you looked at the ground loot there, it just gets insane. Absolutely crazy. And I was also missing like 10% more rarity than what I have here. That's not a lot, but just could have been better. So a lot of mistakes. But yeah, you get the idea. I'm just gonna skip to the end. See where we're sitting. Currently at 74,000 towards the end. Got the last few. And 80,000. It looks like I'm on the last box here. And I think that's pretty much where I end off. So 81,971. So you can kind of, if you understand how gold drops, you can generate a ton of gold